I am live. That is glorious. I can't see chat yet. That's okay. No one needs to know. But first, it's... We're live. They can see you. Look out.
Aha! I was ready for this. I definitely wasn't texting somebody, hey, I'm on a live stream.
Guess what? Watch me. All right. I think I have everything set up. I think we can be heard. We will find out.
They will let us know very quickly if we cannot.
They'll just be like, we don't want that. We don't want that to happen. All right. I love this that you're the executioner and we got you here on Friday the 13th. It feels appropriate.
I didn't put that together until I read your title in the Discord. I was like, okay.
Makes
We're
perfect
here for
sense.
This.
Yes.
It works.
I hope you're having a beverage. I know
I am. Right. I am indeed. I poured it while your intro was playing. This is the John J. Bowman single barrel. This is one of my favorite pours on the planet. This was schemed from an old roommate of mine, like many of my best and finest things are.
I've heard about you and your roommate. You've done
things. Dude, we were a duo until he decided to ruin my life and move.
Oh.
We really made everything work together. But like he was work from home, and I was at times a bartender, at times a freelancer. So on any day at 10 or 11 a.m., we could go hit liquor stores and go see what was being put out, go like talk with the people doing the actual work and find some glorious pours for very cheap.
I love that. My friend from my old high school days, he lives in Missouri, so I don't really see him much anymore. But I've been slowly working him into the whiskey world. And be like, look, try this. Look, try this. Look, try this one. He had
having it to share with, having somebody to share everything with makes it so much easier, and it divides your spending, which is like particularly helpful.
Yes, I'm glad I was able to do that for him. He actually had a bad experience with whiskey. Another friend of ours from high school, gave him some peated Scotch. After they'd been drinking and as a shot, so he didn't know. He got very sick after that, and he's always like Scotch. No.
Yeah.
It's not. It's fine, man. It's not what you think.
Sometimes you got to work your way in there.
I gotta put the background music on. That's so loud. There we go. Hopefully that's going through. I can never tell. All right, we have to dig into your story about... We were just discussing it a moment ago, where we were talking about how we both kind of fell into the whiskey world and found ourselves doing this kind of thing. Like you're officially part of the whiskey tribe / crowded barrel community over there, and you moved there, which is one of those things. I go, why? I visited Texas enough times to just know I could not be there for long.
Oh, I mean, the truth on that one's simple. They got me here in October, late October, early November, which made it all seem very reasonable. Right now is the benefit where everyone is texting me, what's the temperature today? I'm like, at 70? Like, it's 13.
Yeah. I don't know what it is right now. I know it's frigid. I know we have freezing temperatures, and I do everything in Celsius just to be obnoxious.
That's all right. I favor British pronunciations on things, so I feel like that's just as obnoxious.
Yeah, -2 feels like -5 Celsius. I do that because I want to go travel the world someday, and it would help if I knew how cold it was and how hot it was without having to be like, what's it from Fahrenheit?
Sure.
And I've gotten it locked in pretty well, which is nice. I know.
Sure.
Anything under zero is bad.
You go first because we're just meeting. You tell me how'd you fall and stumble into all of this?
Zen Buddha hello. Welcome. I fell into this by a similar route. You'd mentioned your Modern Rogue incident, and I think I had a similar thing. They will never know what they've done to people. Like this one episode about whiskey and it's just cascade effect of things.
Yeah, 2.8 million views later, and you get...
I need to open my little drink. Disregard that. It's a souvenir. It's from Vegas. So of course.
Sure.
But it's actually this stuff. Biro.
Biro, which is the...
Spider-Man's...
Tom Holland.
Spider-Man's beer. That's why I can think of it that way.
You know what's so strange is that product was leaked to me by a New York ad executive that happened to be sitting at my bar visiting Nebraska.
Life is weird, man. You say stuff
I
like
know.
that.
I know.
Like,
She
what?
was like, in 2 weeks, we're about to make the largest non-alcoholic beer announcement. I cannot tell you who we're partnering with, but you know him, and this is a big deal. I'm like, okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
that was a
cool.
weird conversation.
It's like, what do you? It's like, well, you can't tell me, so I have no idea. Kathy Huey, hello, happy Friday, welcome. Well, so let's start with the episode about Modern Rogue and Daniel, when he wasn't all white-hairedness and grays.
Yeah,
You look back, you're like, whoa.
looked very clean. Actually, I have it pulled up here. 4.2 million views in 7 years ago. God. So I was right. April of 2017 was the first time I'd ever stumbled into the vault digitally.
Yep.
And at that point, I already had a fascination for Scotch. My college roommate and I, John, had tried a smattering of Scotches that we could get our hands on. And they were fine, but also incredibly expensive. So
Yes.
stumbling into the Modern Rogue and finding the whiskey vault and seeing reviews on American whiskey that I could actually afford. Keep in mind at the time, this is when Four Roses single barrel was like $35 a bottle.
Don't remind
and
me.
Buffalo Trace was $26 on every shelf in America.
Ah, the good old days.
The good old days.
Yeah. I think it was just finding that video somehow. Like, the algorithm affected my life, and I don't like that. It's just like, hey, here's a video. It's going to change your life. You don't know that yet.
It's what it is, man. So, yeah, I mean, I fell into the vault from there, and whiskey has been an obsession, a minor league obsession of mine since either late middle school, early high school. There's an old episode of The West Wing where they describe Johnny Walker Blue Label, and Leo McGarry, an alcoholic, describes Johnny Walker Blue Label as the most desirable thing on the planet. I'm like, okay, I gotta find some of that then. And that's the kickoff. I can actually note back to media my influence of the whiskeys that drive me and the whiskeys that I think about.
So Johnny Walker got you early, did he?
Real early, dude. And then you find the marketing and you see some of the work they've put out there for specifically Johnny Walker Blue Label, and it is unbelievable. Short films, videography, just the best marketing on the planet for
The Walking Man.
Absolutely mediocre Scotch.
The Walking Man video is the one I remember the most. Just like that one whole shot where the guy's just walking toward you the whole time.
Hey, Piper, stop piping! Yes, no, that's the one. That's the one I showed John. I was his first pour of alcohol. I showed up one day with a water bottle full of spiced rum. Literally a water bottle of spiced rum. We had a futon that had a hidden compartment under it that I kept it in. And I was like, okay, try this. He's like, okay, I could get into this a little bit.
I like this. Okay, where can I get more?
Now watch this Johnny Walker video, and I'm going to convince you to waste half of your money with me.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember everything I started about. It was that episode, I think, was the big one. Fell into the whiskey vault, and Daniel doing the advent calendars. Rex coming along and upping the production of it, turning into a little more of his science experiment of how YouTube works and what he can do with his vast knowledge about digital stuff and video, which I don't know that well, but I know he knows a lot more than I do. And yeah, I started doing the advent calendars. That's really how it started for me, is once I started seeing Daniel do the advent calendars, I was like, hey, I'll see if I like whiskey. I'll do those.
Yeah.
The other thing was, I was looking for something. I didn't really know it, but I was looking for something to drink. I went through the iterations of beer. I went through wine. I even got into sake for a bit. I didn't really go into any hard things. No tequila or rums were ever touched. Just those three, I think, were the initial, I need to find a thing. I don't know why I'm looking for it, but I need to find a thing. Even, bicycling was one for a little while. I got into cycling pretty
Hey, it's
earnestly.
great when you can find a happy or a healthy hobby.
Yeah, well, that went to hell. Although I did get my bike fixed recently, so I can get back into that a little again now that I'm like not drinking, but choosing not to drink, keeping. And after that, it was just I was making videos of it, like doing the advent calendar for myself, and making the videos onto YouTube with any like no regard to who would see it because no one would. Was the thought back then. I was
Sure.
just doing it to see how I liked whiskey along the years, and try these interesting little advent calendars. This is the first year I haven't done one since 2019. Actually, no. It's probably set 2017, 2018. Maybe 2016. When the hell did it start? It was a while, but not doing them this year feels a little odd. But the advent calendar I did get, the Flaviar one, is going to a good home, and it'll be drank at least, rather than just sitting here for me to hold and think next year. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, so I fell into all of this originally through that in terms of the whiskey. The content side of things is really my backbone and background, though. That's kind of my entire life. I am late 20s, soon to be early 30s, and so I was like one of the first generations of people to grow up with YouTube as their main source of entertainment.
Yeah.
So like going back to the old days of Smosh, Fred, like real YouTube beginnings of virality. So YouTube's always been an obsession of mine. And then following gaming communities, the Call of Duty community, like 2010, 2011 Call of Duty around the release of Modern Warfare 2 and everything going there was kind of what got me into making YouTube videos. So I have been recording myself non-video since I was like 12 or 13 and had a MacBook.
They have so much dirt on you.
Dude, these videos are privated, but it's okay. I've been collecting old videos of Rex so that
Nice.
I can at some point I'm like, okay, here's your old videos and I get to make fun of you. Then we watch my old videos and you get to make fun of me because mine are from high school or earlier.
I think the thing I think of for that scenario is seeing like Rex's early, like LinkedIn profile pic of him just looking like this. He's just a normal like dude, and then now.
Yes. Okay, yes. So I have a few clips of him as just a baby face. He's like 27 or 28. He might be 30 in some of this, but just as baby faced as possible, looking so different and trying to appear presentable from a professional angle. And then you meet him today, it's like, oh wow.
Like, so this is where you come to. How far you've fallen, Rex.
Or risen.
Yes. He's the eagle from the ashes. Or the phoenix. No, he's an eagle. Eagle from the ashes. That's why I'm wearing this shirt, actually. This is one of the old school ones.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. This is the one I wore when I actually first met Rex and Daniel, and that's a big part of how this kept going. Where Irene Tan stores in Connecticut, and they had put an announcement on Patreon that they were going to visit Irene's store on this day. And just my mind melting from the fact that these two guys I'm watching in Texas, didn't think I'd ever meet, didn't ever think I'd ever talk to, land in Rhode Island and go into Connecticut, and there's an open invite, and it was like, it's fate. It must be. No, it was weird. It was really weird to have it just occur that way, and then everything kind of kept going from there. Meeting Irene, meeting Rex and Daniel, meeting some people from the area who opened their own distillery and have just recently, well, I say the past year and a half or two, opened up or moved. They moved from Massachusetts to Rhode Island with their distillery called Working Man Distillery. And it's been lovely to watch them grow. It's a magnificent place now. Thankfully, they can make mocktails. And unfortunately, it's in the Providence area, which is like the main city of Rhode Island. Don't like cities. But every once in a while, I go up there to say hello.
Yeah, it's weird moving to Austin because I also don't love cities. And even that's not true. If I could live in like a fully walkable city, I think I'd be there and be very happy. But it's the traffic that gets me.
Yes. Mine is the whole completely unnatural environment that is known as city. Like human beings created this thing, and we're like, this is normal. I can't see the sky. There are not many trees around. It's just
Yeah, no, I'm an indoor kid. I'm fine with being surrounded by concrete. It's the traffic that drives me nuts.
Bourbon neophyte. Hello, welcome. Welcome. Smash the button. Oh yes, smash the like button. Do that. Do it. Yeah. So it's just me. Like also Rhode Islander, meaning I don't like to go anywhere. I do. Yeah. I go places and do stuff mainly to like fight off my anxious mind and other things. But other than that, I prefer to stay right here. Like everything you see here, this is where I am most of the time. Either editing video or doing live streams, or generally just enjoying some escapism with like computer games. Right now I've fallen back into World of Warcraft and I'm a little ashamed of it.
I can't tell the ashamed part, but I can tell you're on the World of Warcraft just from the Discord activity bar. Completely outing you.
Yep. I do it all the time. I've been doing it, I don't know how many years I've been posting stuff on there. Probably almost as long as the Discord's been there. But, because it's an option, thankfully. And I do feel bad. I'm like, why am I the only one posting stuff? Someone else has to post this stuff, or else it's just me. It doesn't feel right.
You're not fully the only person. You're just most of the only person. Hamish has been in there posting. Squirrel posted a little bit ago. There's a mix.
I feel like it needs more, but then again, I say that and it eventually gets out of control, which sucks.
It's a really hard balance, and I've thought about that with the Discord a lot in terms of the existing channels and how much is going on in each one, because each channel, some of these barely get touched, but then something actually pops off and then it's like, oh, people are all here having the same conversation. So it's a very difficult balance when you try to like condense it into something. I was like, well, I mean, like, there's no harm in having more.
No. Why camera? Why would you fight me? There we go. Again, I'm trying to like we're level, but we're not.
I can go to right about. I think that's about right.
There. No, I'm comfortable. This is not comfortable.
Also, the World of Warcraft. Look, man, I got to be real with you. I'm an old school RuneScape player. You don't want to know the amount of time I've been putting into. They have leagues going on right now, which is a temporary game mode. You do not want to know the amount of time that I've put into leagues in the last few weeks. It's been bad.
Can't stop.
It's been bad.
I've been enjoying the nostalgia effect that they got going, where they've made a new hardcore server. So your character dies, you die. Which not a fan of that, but content. You want to see my misery when I die in some stupid way.
Yeah, I felt the same way on hardcore accounts until I got into hardcore accounts for content. I was live streaming survival games mostly, and having your entire save file be deleted in the middle of it is actually beautiful. It's so wonderful because it makes every moment worth so much more to you, and you're like, all of this.
Oh, it's a new level of terror.
Yeah.
It's like you learn what fear is again. Like I do. I don't want this feeling, but people love it. People love to see it.
And you can always, at least not with WoW, but with the survival games, I could always save a backup of a world if I really wanted to. But it's so much more beautiful to just let it live and die.
Watch it burn.
Fully in the content realm.
Yep. That's the idea for me, but I just fell back into it because of the quality of it's improved. Like I think it got bought. Like there were the people who like Activision or some shit. They had it for a while and they were just. I left. I stopped because of what they were doing and how they just were like, money. Get as much money from people. It's fine. Just make the game do something.
It was only a $69 billion acquisition.
Yeah. So I stopped for a while with that, and then recently. Rumors abound of how it's improved and how it's gotten better and how it's more entertaining. And it's true. Like, I started playing it again. I'm like, oh, I'm enjoying this dumb stuff again. And I've played in this world for so long since the initial Warcraft itself began in 93, 94. So I've been playing it for most of my life in general, which is, again, with our generations going through that. You know, I'm like, I don't know how old you were when the internet started. You might not even been around. I don't know.
I wouldn't have technically been around, but in terms of like online awareness, I was despicably young to be on the internet. Like I really
We didn't have rules
grow
then.
up in it. No,
It was
no,
just
we
like,
did not.
it's the
And the
internet.
things you could say and do, like I really do. There are lines, but I do sympathize for people who grew up in old school internet trying to navigate the modern world. I'm like, that stuff doesn't work anymore. You can't do that.
It's like, please stop, please. Yeah, what's weird is how little I remember other than like the sound of AOL. God awful sound. No one can use the phone, all that nonsense.
I've been listening to an audiobook from the games journalist Jason Schreier about the founding of Activision Blizzard and the whole story of Blizzard effectively. It's called Play Nice by Jason Schreier, and it is phenomenal. It's an incredible take on the story of Blizzard and where everything kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
Because even at this point, like people my age don't even realize what a powerhouse and what a hit maker Blizzard was, because people my age, their first experience was Diablo 3. And they were
Diablo
like,
3.
they're like, yeah,
Jesus.
this is fine. This is okay. And then you get Overwatch. And then you go from there. It's, yeah, Heroes of the Storm, I think, was a big signifier of the fall off of devotion to the fans and figuring out exactly what they were looking for. But it's a pretty wild ride to get to where we are today, where even a few years ago, World of Warcraft developers were saying, no, you don't want WoW Classic. You think you want WoW Classic, you don't, and here's why. And they'd never really give you a real reason why. But then people create modded servers for WoW Classic, and they're like, hey, we're going to copyright strike you and make our own.
It's like either you do it or we'll do it. So
Literally, just give the people what they want. And if it dies off or it's unsuccessful, at least you then get to say, hey, we gave you what you asked for.
this is what you wanted. This is what you wanted. Awful.
But to their credit, WoW subscription price has not changed, correct?
I don't know. Like, it was so long where I had it or didn't have it that I didn't pay for it. I don't remember what it was, but it's been
I think it was
15.
always 15 a month.
Yeah, it feels like it hasn't changed that drastically. It's still, I don't like it. I'm glad it stayed the same, but I don't like it.
Yeah, well, I mean, in that case, really, it just means that they started extremely high and that inflation has leveled it out to where $15 a month seems more reasonable.
Well, I mean, the whole, like, not pay to win, but you can buy stuff, in like digital stuff. You can buy mounts, you can buy pets, you can buy everything. They do the charity stuff, which I appreciate. They have one of those going on right now, which I did buy because it's like, oh, charity. That's how you got me. I got a silly little dog who has a detective hat on. Cool.
Heck yeah.
I'm cool with that. For someone who had this disease and like went through WoW, as he couldn't like move much. It was like a muscle thing. I don't know a lot of details. I just know it seemed really awful to have someone who's like stuck in their own body mostly, and they found this online community and lived through that.
Yeah.
Which is usually what I bring to people. It's like, I know WoW is WoW. However, there's more to it.
I mean, it's the whole, I feel like it's less of an argument post-COVID than it used to be of trying to argue like the fruitfulness of the internet for engagement and interaction, because it used to actually be very hard for people to understand, just like online dating was until the rise of Tinder, etc.
No, it's still
people are finally like, oh, now there's no stigma because that's just what people do. Once you started getting forced to make online connections, you're like, yeah, I'm on Discord every day with my friends. Then people started to understand there is something there.
Yep, we made it so you can never be alone. So that's nice.
It's a mixed bag.
It is. You can unplug. That's the good thing, and that's something I've been working on. Is turning the phone off and stopping and just being in my apartment by myself and going, oh.
Yeah.
I should do chores. There are things I should bring my attention to instead of just looking at a screen.
Yeah, well, it's a double-edged sword about our episodes coming out on Saturdays because on one hand, I really do want to actively monitor the comments and see what people are saying. On the other hand, I'm like, I'm gonna think about this all weekend if I don't stop myself.
Yep.
I need to not do that for myself.
Yeah. The thing is, I do, like I want to do this, but it's actually what I'm doing. It's my living. My work on doing like live streams like this are tonight, Fridays, and Sundays, because I know those are just popular times for people to be at home doing not much and wanting to watch something or interact with people, like what I'm doing in the chat right now, interacting with people.
Yeah.
Black Angel. I mean, what is that? Espresso martini mix and Angel's Envy rye. Son, but you know I'm not currently having alcohol. How dare you? He can say whatever he wants. He's the one who actually gave me this, like, a number of boxes of Bureau because he knew I did a stream about like all of them to try them, looking for new options.
Espresso martini mix and Angel's Envy rye is really interesting because it sounds too sweet for me. But I also yesterday had an espresso martini made with tequila, and that was fantastic.
Really? Cool.
So good. I mean, it was our tequila. It's really good tequila. But it was, it's Peña's special blend.
Oh, Peña, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just say that first. I'm like, oh, of course.
Really good.
It's good stuff. You triggered a trap card, by the way. You said too sweet for me. And immediately it went to, you're too sweet for me. My coffee black in my bed. That whiskey song that's been played 1,000 times now. I was like, damn it. Get it out.
Yeah, I'm just happy you're familiar with trap cards.
Yep, I am. Falling for it. I just need like music. I have like a radio antenna in my head. There's just stuff that pops in there all the time. It's very distracting.
That's fair. It makes for good quips, though.
Even
if nobody understands them.
Like, I'll be doing live streams and just like whistling something all of a sudden. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but there it is.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Keeps me entertained, at least. Hopefully other people as well. Let's see. What else? I want to try to go back down the how we actually got here thing.
Sure. Yeah, ask me anything. I've worked on a ton of weird random things for YouTube and or Twitch. I've done some very strange things to get to the point that I currently am, up until the point that I was making a video to get the job that I currently have. And if anyone is wondering, if you ever want a job for a content creator, make a video. They don't like resumes even if they ask for them. Just make a video, make it short because they are very busy people.
60 seconds.
Just make a short video and you have an interview. Guaranteed interview. No matter what. If it's okay, you have a good you have an interview, you know?
No, we can't be bothered to actually talk to people. Just make a video. Tell me. Show me. It works. I haven't had to do that in a while.
It's really effective. It's how I've gotten both of my actual, like, salaried content positions. I just made videos instead of doing anything else. And then if they talk to you and they're like, oh, you probably aren't a psychopath or a serial killer, it's fine.
It's not yet, but you're going to work for us. So I can imagine it must be an interesting days being in that place with those people for so long. But I do not know them well. I have to admit that.
Yes, but also, and I hesitate to say this because I think there is a real issue with parasocial relationships, but especially with Rex editing so many of the videos for so long and then also like controlling the edits even when he wasn't, the actual version of the people you see is a lot closer than most people would expect to the reality of the people. It's not an inauthentic version. If anything, it's mostly just a more self-censored version of the people.
Yes.
It's a quick yes.
Yes, I can agree. I have talked with them enough. Brianna, and Rex both, and Daniel. And I know there's no real difference, like extreme. It's not like behaving one way on the screen and then a totally different way in person. It's pretty much the same thing, but I do know, from my perspective at least, that there is a huge difference in how we met each other and how we know each other. Like, I will always be the guy who found them on YouTube and then met them, so that puts a different thing right there. If I'm making any sense at all.
No, it does to some degree, but I would also say that if anything, it kind of makes creators feel a little bit of an imaginary debt to the audience and to the people of like, I want to give you something good. I want, like, if I'm actually seeing you, this is not going to be an everyday thing. This is you are here with me in this moment, and I want to try and provide the thing that you are looking for, even though you're not directly looking for anything. So it is like a very strange thing to navigate in a sense. But again, I don't think it's like necessarily inauthentic or wrong. It's just, okay, you're here for this moment. Let me try and be a good version of myself. But, you know, I'm doing the same thing right now, talking to you on a live stream. I'm thinking about my words and trying to
I
convey
need
everything.
to not make myself seem a fool. And why am I doing an accent? Stop it, Brian. Jesus. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
But whatever gets you through it.
Yes. It used to be alcohol. Now, caffeine, I think, mostly.
We always switch, right? Like whatever you get off of Vice, you find the next one.
Yeah, well, coffee was another one that was up there with the like finding things to go through. That's why I have this whole absurd process of making my coffee in the morning. It's a pour over thing, and I have to do this, and I have to put a certain amount of grounds in the thing and do the thing, and now.
You a Chemex kind of guy?
It's not a Chemex. It's some weird one. It's called a manual, like Manuel. It's just this glass cone thing, and it's just pour over. It just looks fancy. That's it.
Okay.
And I don't even remember how I found it, but it was like a startup thing. Like it was early on. They were trying to do a. It's not called startup. Kickstarter, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And now you can just look for it. Although I found it hard to find once. It's like just finding a manual coffee maker. Type in manual coffee maker. You'll find a lot of different things on Google that aren't what you're looking for. Like, good brand choice, guys.
Hey, don't even get me started also on the enshittification of the internet and the place that Google and just general search is now compared to even 4 years ago is insane. It can be the moment you're looking for something specific, and it's really close to something else, but not that other thing, they just decide what you're looking for. Like when I'm doing especially deeper level of research, I'm like, I pull out Bing. I'm a Binger on occasion because Bing will give me what I'm looking for, not Google, who Google's like, no, this is what you need. I got you.
You want this product instead.
Yeah, literally, yes. They paid us. Look at them.
Yeah, you go through the first 3 or 4. Promoted. Okay, now you hear something that might be what you want.
Yeah.
It is weird to see like Google got worse. I know it was like it's the AI world happened, and now like everything needs to be AI, and we also need to sell you everything. Like, stop.
Why not?
I'm just looking for a certain place. I want to go have lunch. Jesus.
But yeah, man, I got here through very strange means, but also most of it came from just reading a massive amount about bourbon, but really it kind of came down to like my interest is in the craft American whiskey market and how we got to the bourbon boom that we're experiencing today and is now starting to die off. But studying the companies that built all of this and put this together, built the format for everybody else, and then watching people throw hundreds of millions of dollars of VC money and try to force it is just fascinating to me. I love that.
God, why? I just love that we kind of happen to come across all this at this time. I think
Yes.
Daniel said the same thing. It's like the whiskey boom we're having now is wild. And then we get into the history of how whiskey was a thing. My main, I didn't start with that. My main starting down the path of whiskey was actually a book my dad recorded called Whiskey Women, how women saved the whiskey industry, I think, something along those lines. Fred Minnick wrote it. So that's a big start there.
So it's probably not anti-temperance movement. It's probably World War II when women started taking over facilities and production.
It went further back. It went to the initial like with perfumes and how women in like, I want to say Arabia area, but I'm bad at geography, like back way back, like Egyptian times,
Yes, yeah.
doing all that kind of stuff, and how women would be in control of that, and how it just kind of developed into a man's thing to do. Religion was involved, because of course it was, and then how it leaked into Ireland and Scotland and blew up, and then became a whole thing that just spread us across the entire world. That's my basic history of it, and it's not great, but I sum up the book as fast as I can. That's it.
That's fine. If it's a Fred Minnick book, I either own it or will get to owning it one way or the other. It's wonderful work.
Well, I'll say get the audiobook instead, because my dad did.
Sure.
It's on.
He actually recorded the voice for it?
Yeah, it's on Audible.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's
the
cool.
reason I got into it was he had to record it. I had to listen for edits to make sure there weren't any like flubs or weirdness or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hello, Zenbud. Thank you for that. If you recognize what that is, I'll be amazed. That's Golden Boy. It's an anime.
No, I could barely hear it. And
He's
also,
like-
my anime knowledge is very pedestrian.
That's fine.
I love my Hero Academia.
There you
Terrible
go.
English. I love my Hero. I grew up with Adult Swim, so I saw Full Metal Alchemist before Brotherhood ever came out.
Yep.
Grew up with Inuyasha, and
Yep.
my older brother was telling my mom, like, he's watching something inappropriate. He's watching. Look at Kagome in the hot springs. Like, she's basically naked.
That's a cultural difference there. Mom, it's culture.
Yeah. There's no nipple, okay?
Yeah. It's a cartoon. You don't see anything. Relax.
Yeah, so no, I am into all of the weirdest and nerdiest sides of something. I also just spent 8 years in the service industry and worked with people constantly, and I've had to fit into societal norms that have forced me to try and be a normal person.
Oh, wow.
But I also have a massive amount of insane, weird hobbies.
I think I'm in the same boat, but I don't know what would be the weirdest. It's simple stuff. It's like gaming, anime, cartoons, because cartoons. Who doesn't like cartoons? But that's just that's another way of saying like American animation. It's really like Disney stuff I've been watching since Disney. Well, as long as I've known Disney. That's how far back. What else? There's got to be more, Brian, but I'm thinking about it, and it's not going to be in there anymore.
Oh, it's fine. I'll grab my next whiskey and you can have a moment.
Do it. I'm trying to think what else I like. Anyone out there who's watching, what do I like? Because I don't know. I know I like anime. I used to like reading a lot. That was nice. But I haven't read anything solid in a good while. That's why we're doing the audiobook thing. Listen to audiobooks instead. Yeah, that's my newest thing, is getting into audiobooks again. Because I've had to listen.
I love audiobooks.
I've had to listen
It's
to so
a cheat
many.
code.
Just because my dad's work.
Yeah.
And the work, again, air quotes is what I want to do. No, Brian, it's an actual job. Shut up. That did a lot.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy.
Candace, hello. Schwelcome. Thank you for becoming a member. I'm clicking on the wrong thing again. There we go. Erotica is using a feather. Porn is using the whole chicken. Dirty. Stop it. That was a membership thing. If you even heard it.
I did hear that one.
Yes. Hello, Mr. Fancy Pants. Old school horrible horror. We have to keep an eye on the clock. I forgot. Jesus. Usually I just don't look at it these days with the live streams I've been doing with games. Don't pay attention to it.
Next one up, by the way, this is Blackened's limited edition.
Do it.
This is the Wes Henderson collaboration with
Oh, the big
Angel's
one.
Envy. White port finish.
Give it to me. I mean,
This is terrible. I feel like I'm doing something bad.
No.
Enjoying.
It's fine. It's my enjoyment is your enjoyment. Basically.
Look, man. Hey, at least this is digital, so I don't have to deal with the. Let me just smell your breath. You just come here.
I would never. I've gotten used to, at least a little bit, doing tasting stuff where, you know, I smell it and I taste it and I just spit it out again.
Sip and spit.
Sip and
Yeah.
spit, yep, it works. And although I am trying to like stay away from alcohol entirely, well, I should explain to you why. My liver issue that I found out about 100 something odd days ago, 113, 114 days, something like that. But they said it was getting fibrosis, which is basically scarring of the liver. Mm-hmm. That's bad. The liver is a thing that repairs itself all the time. Shouldn't start to scar. That's bad.
Yeah.
So I stopped with that. Like my doctor recommended I like take a break, and I went, okay, this is just my whole livelihood and everything I've been doing for the past 5 years, but sure. And the getting around it has been, you know, sipping and spitting it, and somehow still being involved in the whiskey community, just because like I'm a whiskey somm too, so that helps. Like I have the background of I'm doing this because I enjoy it and not because I want to get annihilated.
I mean, it's honestly, it's really interesting to hear you talk about your journey with this now, because I've thought about it considerably in the sense of the thing that actually drives me is a lot of the storytelling that there is with it, and a lot of the history, and I would even go as far as to say is mythology, because my favorite thing to do is correct people on things that they parrot and they think they're facts. But then I'm like, oh, hey, there's actually this whole other thing here if you read something other than the marketing material. And at that point, I'm like, man, I could still have a considerably large whiskey collection and get a vast majority out of my enjoyment by pouring it for other people than just drinking it myself, to be honest. Because when I present stuff to people, it just brings me so much joy. Being able to tell a story, even if it's not the story or even an accurate story, if the person seems like they want some puffery and bullshit, like I'm so happy to give somebody whatever they're looking for in this and just have them have a great experience through a bottle. I do think I could get a lot of that without drinking, because the drink is only so much of it, really.
Yeah. It's kind of the part that brings you together, and it has an interest, but it's not, you're not doing it because you want to get drunk. You're doing it because you want the enjoyment, the social aspect of it that people don't seem to get enough of these days.
Yes.
Candace, why are you moving? What are you doing? Sorry, this is an old WoW friend of mine. Sold my house and then moving to KC? Question mark? Are you? Tell me more.
And then moving to KC?
Do it.
I do love Kansas City. J. Reiger Distillery is a phenomenal afternoon. It's fine whiskey. I think most of their stuff's still MGP, but it's a nice afternoon, and that's all you can ask for.
Don't you badmouth MGP.
I told you. I told you. I'm a fanboy. I know. There's a reason Four Roses single barrel proof is over there, and that's because I love Four Roses, knowing their history as one of Seagram's whiskey factories. I love it.
See if it wants to do it.
Four Roses. Oh, that's beautiful.
Yep. Went to the distillery a number of times. And recently, like before they actually had their new tasting room and all that, and then after, incredible place now. Their tasting room is so nice. The bar is so nice. I was able to get some of the fancy ones. I forget what to call them. The single barrel that have the like OESO kind of stuff. Yeah. I managed to buy at least one of those there, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah. That's which, I mean, to their credit, they are now finally changing. They're finally releasing the other varietals of single barrel of their different recipes. 3 a year. We'll see how long. I mean, we got a few years until I can get all 10, but the moment that they decided to release the like gift pack of all 10 recipes is 50 milliliters.
I was like,
oh, it's over. We could do it now. We could try them all.
Yeah. I know I'm right. I will absolutely have a shelf that's just like the Four Roses line. I have like a bunch of Elijah Craig's just sitting down here now. There's like, what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 9. I think I have one that's over there, but it's ridiculous. Like it just like that happened by accident. And
No, I know. Trust me. Especially again when it was just my roommate and I. the issue was so different because we could compound bottles without realizing the other person owned what, and it was awesome because you had a great excuse when you shared everything.
Mm,
Heard about the mold issue in Lynchburg?
Right.
You're talking about the black. Oh God, this is one of those whiskey's dirty little secret things people don't love to talk about.
oh, the mold stuff that's everywhere because of what they're doing.
It's Lynchburg. It's everywhere. Anywhere with any significant amount of barrel presence eventually gets that crazy black viney looking mold. There's actually a lawsuit that just launched very recently against Whistlepig because of one of their barrel houses. I don't even think it's technically in Vermont. I think it's in New York or New Jersey, but they have a literal barrel warehouse, and the neighbors are now suing over that, which is.
I mean, I get it. No one wants black mold everywhere, but I like whiskey a lot. So, like,
it is a hard thing. Which, and to be fair, there is no evidence of terrible health effects due to it. That being said, oftentimes the fact that there is no evidence means that nobody is turning that stone over. Like a lot of the times you see studies about benefits for stuff because the industry is funding studies about benefits for the industry that they're a part of. So I don't know. It does make me nervous for like 20 years down the line of what we're going to have to go through to have whiskey warehouses and where we're going to have to place them if there's going to be regulation about how far away it has to be from a populace. And if that makes sense, we do it. But like you say, Candace, dude, it's a fungus.
Yeah.
I know.
You're fine. It's fine. We're going to do this. Yeah, exactly.
It's a fungus.
It's fine, but people like to freak out. Like, let's not go into any kind of dicey topic, but people like to complain and be angry about almost anything. So there's that.
Everything in moderation's fine, even black mold, man.
Yeah. See, it tastes fine. I mean, you think of, what the hell, truffles? Like, people love that stuff.
Yep.
They wish it was everywhere.
I had a truffle parmesan the other day. I got a little brick of parmesan with truffle baked into it for a cave aging process or something. I'm still thinking about that cheese, and I paid like $13 for a tiny wedge of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've had like truffle cheese stuff on my French fries once or twice. I know there's a place near me that has it, and they're just astounding. I eat them all.
Dude, the hard part working on both ends though is that a lot of places are giving you like it's a $2.50 upcharge for a truffle oil they're getting out of like an aerosol can and just like brisking on it. Honestly,
we didn't lie.
I don't care because it still tastes like truffle.
Yeah, it tastes good. You know, that's what we're going with in this world.
It's rule one. It's all anti-snobbery. So like I don't care if this isn't the authentic version of black truffle. I don't care if this is the cheap version of it. If it tastes like the thing I enjoy, it tastes like the thing I enjoy.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing in the whiskey vibe. Is, you know, if you like, we know what it is. You know what it is. The whiskey you like to drink is the whiskey you like to drink the way you like to drink it.
Yep,
that's it, and that's easy, and it makes sense when you say it.
No one has ever argued with it, even when I've been serving like actual snobs. Everyone agrees with the base rule because it's so reasonable and so reasonably put. Yeah, the thing you like is the thing you like, you know? Yep. It's not that controversial, or at least
I would like be. It shouldn't be. I was gonna say I'd like people to know that in many different aspects, but oh well. Whatever. Can't change that, but I can at least live in, like, I'm on my channel. I kind of just have to get used to this thing where I say what I mean and what I want and what I think is right, and hope people don't like panic and freak out about it or give me grief.
What's the point of garnering an audience for yourself with your own name on it?
Yeah, it's like my channel, my rules.
For that? Yes.
If you don't like it, I'm sorry. Get out. I mean, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. But I do want to point out what I was thinking, and this isn't severe, but like little things when I go off. I'm going to drag into this. Like, it's the Respect for Marriage Act of 2022. That's today. And I always feel it's wild that 2 years ago is only when it started. You know, that's when it actually came as a thing. It's like, oh, But again, stay away from that. Just little things. I don't know what you triggered something in there, but that was there. It's also Dick Van Dyke's birthday. That was the other one. He's 99 years old, and he was a huge influence on my sense of humor and weirdness as a kid, oddly enough.
Van Dyke's alive, right?
99 today.
He's like 99 today. Well, okay. When you get up there, we still celebrate the birthdays after you pass.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, I saw Dick Van Dyke on a Broadway stage, basically celebrating his work that was televised as part of some award show very recently, and that dude is still having a blast, clapping along, and like just so psyched to be there. I'm like, that's the dream.
Yep.
That is the dream, to be honored and awarded at an age like that and still be able to enjoy the process of everything.
The latest thing I heard was he was in, he's going to be in a music video of some sort. Yeah. It's like for a certain band, and they did a music video and they had him in it. I don't remember who, but if anyone else in chat knows about what I'm talking about, please tell me. Again, it's like one of those side things that happens. It catches off the side when you're going all over the internet doing whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I have these. This is why I just started taking meticulous notes or saving all of my links a long time ago. I talked to Rex about that in my interview. I'm like, dude, I have 23 pages on the history of Jack Daniels that nobody cares about.
It's like, but I have it.
Nobody cares about this, but I have it. I have the entirety of the Twitter scroll of the founder of Barrel Craft Spirits, Joe Beatrice. I know where he was eating dinner in 2011.
Nothing weird about this at all.
He shared it. He
Oh,
shared it
it's
because
on the
of
internet.
an app called Foursquare.
Oh, Foursquare. I remember Foursquare.
You remember Foursquare? Do you remember that it's an app where we were just advertising the places we go to all the time so that you could become the mayor of somewhere?
I still have it. It's called Swarm.
Oh, I had no idea
It's
it was
still there.
around.
No, wait.
That's awesome.
It's just a change. It's still, please work. There you go. Don't see exactly where I am, but there it is.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. But it's also funny for me going back through this, scrolling through 6 years of a guy's tweets and being like, I'm following so much of your personal information.
Yeah.
And this is not what I was looking
for. I think that's another thing we can touch on is how weird it is to be in that world of like, I'm on the internet and people can find me. I need to be careful, but I don't want to have to be careful.
Yeah.
Like I need to get a P.O. box and all that kind of stuff for people to send me stuff. And then.
Oh, no. I mean, it's, I
haven't, but I should.
I would say people would put me on the line of paranoid.
I am diagnosed. I am actually diagnosed with paranoid. It's not great. It's not great.
The Soviets said it's not paranoia if somebody's out to get you.
Exactly.
But I know, like, the email that I applied for my job with had a fake name attached to it. Literally. Like, and so at that point, too, one of my final conversations with Regs, he's like, I don't know who you are, but you represent yourself as somebody who studies con men and criminals.
Like, don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'll hire you. When can you get here?
Yeah. When are you gonna move in? We got your spot warmed up for you. Don't worry, we don't have your back to the door. It's fine.
No, it is something to actually concern yourself with. I don't think you need to be
not yet. No.
crazy as I might be, but even little stuff like using privacy.com to generate fake cards to sign up for free subscription services and never have to pay for the thing because the card is fake and isn't tied to anything.
Nice.
Like, those little schemes just tickle my brain and bring me joy.
And you get free stuff, which is always good. I'm trying to think of the weird. My paranoid comes from like my windows. I have giant windows, and it faces into a courtyard, so like people can walk through it in the apartment building I'm in, and I'm on the first floor, so anyone could just look in and see me and be like, "Ha! Don't look in other people's windows."
I always felt weird about that in one of my, technically 2 houses ago. I was living in a neighborhood with like an unbelievable community of families near a park. And the amount of people that were constantly just walking by my house and around, I'm like, this is insane. Like, I am constantly surrounded by people enjoying the outdoors of my home, and it's just not something I was used
I was
to.
like, get out, get away from me. I'm gonna put a fence up. Here, let me show you the windows. You can also see my tree. Well, not a real tree, but a bit. A little Christmas tree. It's by my grandma's, and that's the window.
Oh god! Oh, wow!
Yeah, I live in an old mill building, so they just
Oh, that is
mega windows. That's why it's all got a, something covering a portion of it. I have two of those. There's one there and there's one over there. So it's interesting. It's like I want to enjoy the sunlight, but also I don't want anyone looking in here by accident.
Yes. It's if you're going to have great windows, it's nice to be on a second floor.
Yeah. Well, I looked out with my apartment, even though it's like on the first floor, and that's like a minor issue. But I am right down the hallway from the laundromat, the mailroom,
Nice.
the vending machines, and I can get to my car very quickly because, again, first floor.
All convenient for logistics.
Yeah. As far as that, it's fine. But there is, of course, the traffic down the hallway and the echo and all that. But
It's an apartment.
I got you can't see, but behind this is like padding because I actually had them get me soundproofing because the walls are such shit.
Yeah.
But that was nice. It was like I had to go down the like my mental health issues are a thing. It is being affected by these noisy people next door. Like, it's been affecting me for years. I hate it. It makes me feel miserable. Please do something about it.
Help me.
Yeah. Help. Help. Oh, that's been good at least. Now it's a little better. I've been here for like 14 years now. I don't like think of that.
That's terrifying to me. 14 years in one place.
Well, I'm only one town over from where I grew up too.
Yeah.
Because Rhode Island, you don't go. No one leaves.
See, I don't mind that. I don't mind even like I loved Lincoln, the city I'm from. I loved Nebraska. I have no issue with that. It's incredibly mediocre in all of the best ways possible. It's just plain and simple in ways that I'm very comfortable with. It's just living in the same residency for that long seems impossible to me.
You're no bad. You have to go somewhere every once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I grew up with like divorced parents going from house to house, always going somewhere. So I like got used to living out of a backpack. Then I was living on couches for a while. Even once I was in a dorm room and like settled down, I was still like spending my time elsewhere.
Yep. We all have our own little story about how we got to be the way we are. And for me, it was not exactly not go anywhere, but like I didn't go to college or anything. Like I didn't think that was a good idea.
I didn't think it was a good idea. Somebody else was just paying for it. So
yeah. Well, I didn't. That's the thing. We couldn't afford it, as far as I understood it. So like being 18, getting out of high school, and immediately going into 4 years of my next life, and being in this much debt with no real guarantee. I was like, this seems like a bad
I have this
idea.
conversation with people all the time. Like if my school was not paid for, I would have never step foot into the place. Like I have no interest in that, and I genuinely hate the modern university system for a vast majority of people, especially going through it. I'm like, this is a lot of money for something that they tell you to forget the moment you step out of school.
I don't think I would have actually survived college.
Yeah.
Like my mental health stuff was not diagnosed. I was off the hook. I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot, and not giving a heck about anything in the future.
I was pretty close to that too. It's just if you're still giving them money, even if it's somebody else's, they just keep letting you back.
Yeah, but my friends went to college, so I got to have that like side college experience. Like they were in dorms and
hang
stuff.
out with people and like get social aspects out of it.
Oh, I hated it. I mean, it was an interesting time. I did not do well with those new environments and all that kind of thing. But I had a good, solid group of friends in high school, so that helped tremendously.
Yeah.
Oop. Oh, Zenbu's saying he rented the same place for 22 years until a year ago.
Yeah,
That's right.
Candace is saying they're selling their place they've been in for over 10 years. Is that a relief after selling it after 10 years, or is that like sad for you at that point? I'm very curious. Because I feel like I'd be happy to be out of there. But again, I don't want to stick around somewhere for that long. I don't know how I'm going to own property someday because I
know I'm
hate
not
the
going
idea.
to. It's that simple.
I've been saying that. My girlfriend doesn't like that answer, but I've been saying this.
It's a nice idea. It's the thing we've all been kind of sold on.
Conditioned.
Yeah, it's like the late 60s, early 50s of like having a partner and having children and living in a house and having a car and going on vacation and working, 9 to 5, all these little the ideas of then that they think we can still have now when no.
Yeah.
It's a nice idea, but it's not possible anymore.
Oh, I mean, hey, I got friends that pulled it off. They started with a lot more money than everybody else.
Yeah, it helps. I know my friend Missouri. He's made the plunge recently, where he's actually got a house now. He's him and his wife have a job, so that's another big part is the dual income. And
Yeah.
they had a kid, and he's like, I think he turned 4 this year. So they did it, and they're doing it. And I'm like, good luck. Hope it all works. God damn.
I've seen the good and the bad. I've seen people who pull it off magnificently with great careers and they're able to do everything they want to. I've seen people throw themselves into a frankly irresponsible level of house debt that they are not coming out of anytime soon. It's, I don't know.
I got debt.
Do what's right for you.
Yeah.
Is that so difficult?
Live your life, baby. However bad those choices are, you do that.
But that's the moment that you know you're doing something you probably shouldn't be, is when you're arguing, well, everyone keeps telling me I should be doing this, so therefore I should be doing this. Like, no. Start by making your own decision and you go from there.
I've been trying to wean myself out of credit card debt for decades, I think.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it's not even that bad. It's just I don't have like I've said, this is the job.
Yeah.
And it's still new. Like I've been doing it for 5 years, and the past 3, well, the past 2 is when I've been monetized, which is big help, big help. Yeah. And there's Patreon and all that stuff to actually like do this as a job is unreal, but also very real. Like I couldn't have thought this would be what I'm doing years ago, and now I am, and it's working to some extent.
Oh, and also that's why I threw myself in as a freelancer, or at least argued that I would be a freelancer. Is no, I'm going to buy this equipment. I'm going to be able to charge higher rates because of this. I'm going to learn the skills of using higher level equipment, and then I will be able to make more money because of the things that I have done. In this case, it worked out, but I was also never going to make it as a freelancer because I absolutely hate working for individuals that have no taste and don't understand what they're looking for. And when somebody's paying you lots of money, when someone's paying you lots of money, you just have to listen to them.
Yeah, I don't like that. I work for my parents, and I forget what it's called. It's like it's one of those things where I'm not a freelance, but I can work for people of my choosing. Contractor, yeah, that's technically what I am officially. I feel the same way.
1098.
Yeah, I feel the same way about YouTube, where I'm doing what I enjoy. Like I'd done the advent calendars, and I was just doing those without any thought, and then I realized, like, I'm doing this. Why don't I try to make this a thing I can actually make a living on? That seems like a good idea to some extent, any small extent. Like any dollar helps tremendously. So it just kind of made sense. Like if I'm doing it for free, why don't I try to do it for something else?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it gets very difficult when it's so much easier to own the thing as a thing you enjoy doing and not make money on it because you can do it the way you enjoy doing it versus the moment money starts getting involved, you have to start being a lot more thoughtful or strategic if you want to continue making a living doing something.
Oh crap, you do.
And there are considerations you have to make with it, you know? It's frustrating, but there's no such thing as a free lunch. Nobody's going to pay you to be exactly who you want to be. You have to appeal to some level of people.
I just do, like, if I think it's funny, I'll put it up there, and that's usually for every video I've ever done. It's like I find myself laughing at the stupid I was doing, and I hope other people can enjoy that. That's
I think that's like the best rule of thumb you could possibly have. Glad to hear you landed a good job, landed on a job with the best crowd. Right? Oh, straight up same, dude. My last job was so terrible for the audience that I was making stuff for, being a salaried content creator, because there was no audience. It was a PC company selling gaming computers, and I know all there is to know about gaming computers. I was the third most knowledgeable person in the company, and it was horrible because they wanted me to make TikToks. I don't do short form.
No.
Dude, and this was like bait and switch for me too, because I had these long conversations. I had these idealistic, I told everybody, I'm like, I'm only going through with this if I get to say whatever I want and I do this the way I want to. So I went through the interview process being very blunt about the way I felt about everything. And then day one, it's like, all right, come up with a TikTok strategy.
Don't use TikTok. That's trashy.
And if I do it, I'm like, you're pitching to children.
Yeah.
You're trying to sell things for thousands and thousands of dollars, and you're pitching to children.
TikTok's
Tell
weird
us about
now.
the creature on the couch.
Oh yes, I was gonna say, what's the dog's name? I didn't ask.
All right. This is my little sister.
Vicious.
This is Benny.
Dangerous.
Benito Papolini, named for the famous fascist dictator, of course.
Nice.
Beni, Benny. This is my father's dog. I inherited her along with the artwork when he passed. And my brother could have taken the dog very easily, but was like, I already got a dog, man.
Yeah.
I think you could really use a dog right now.
Yeah, you need a dog.
And it turned out that was the best decision I get. We went through our era of grief and depression together, the dog and I, in the best way possible, which is crazy because, like, in hindsight, she full on went through grief and depression as a dog. She full on transitioning with losing my dad, went through it with me, and that was like a crazy experience. Now that she's happy again and she comes to work with me, the moment Brianna walks into work, she's like, oh my god, we're here, it's time for love. It's
I won't distract you at all, I swear.
Oh, it's the best love. Well, okay, let's also be honest here. Brianna creates her own level of distraction because the moment we go 15 minutes through silence, she just starts making noises. She just she just starts finding a way to create
Brianna, you okay
noises.
over there? You need anything?
Literally, and we're all in eye line of each other. So I'm like, Rex is here, Brianna's here, and I'm like, yeah, I hear the things happening to my right. I know she's doing okay. I don't need to contribute to the noises.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, having the dog has been incredible. She's a mini Australian Shepherd who's very fast, so she's barely mini. She is 8 years old now, so I either have 1 year left or 7 years left with her, depending on who you believe on the internet. And I'm just to the point that I think about that. I'm just to the point that I think about losing the dog, and I'm like,
oh, more grief, yay.
This is going to destroy me.
Yeah.
Well, I convinced my girlfriend because she was always on the page of like, let's get another dog. And I'm like, I was against it until I did like start to cope with the fact that someday this animal won't be here. And at that point, I got very drunk one day and just told her, yeah, I'll find another dog. Just get a dog. She's like, you don't mean that. I'm like, you know what? Find the dog. Get the dog.
Like, listen here, you three. I know what I mean.
I don't remember dating two of you, but I've been with you for a while.
You in the middle. Who are these two?
No, the next morning, she's like, you weren't serious, were you? I'm like, I am dead serious. Because if we let Benny pass, then it's going to be 3 years before I even consider having another dog. If we get the next dog now, I have something to help cope with losing the other dog. And I can do that. Okay.
Yeah, you need a hand holding.
Yes, I need it to be. I've said this many times. Make it as easy for me as possible.
Yeah,
like, let's cut the BS here. Like, let's just cut through. I hate when people try to like baby walk me through a concept. I'm like, rip the band-aid off and tell me what needs to happen. Tell me exactly what needs to be done in as blunt terms as possible, and let's move on with our day, because that's just easier for me in terms of communication. I hate when people try to soften a blow, or they're like, well, I'm not sure because of these reasons. No, 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 no. Tell me exactly what's wrong with whatever's going on, and let's confront the issue. Let's not mess around with it.
Yeah, I have a pet story in regard to that coming up in December 19th. It was the day I had to euthanize my cat Max in 2019. So that was not a great year to start. Like then 2020 happened. It was like crippling depression for so long. And
Yeah.
this year, however, we have a good news thing. Where did I put it? It's upstairs, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I have a Booker's bottle up there. I think you can probably just peek up there. I don't remember which one it is, but one of those is the bottle I had a drink of. Not officially like that one, but after we had to do that, like my cat was, I think 15 or something like that. He was actually 18 total, but I had owned him for 15 years. And he was just sick. He had diabetes, and it was just like time. So, hoping that he was going to be all right, we took him to like the vet. And then we had to go to another vet's office, and they were just like we either have to do major surgery that he's going to be miserable in, or this has to stop right now. And I was like, I don't want him to suffer. So that was just that was the decision making there. Broken after that, and my mother took me. She was there, thankfully. And we went to a restaurant afterwards. It's placed in Providence where they have a pretty good whiskey selection. She was trying to cheer me up, of course. If you can even think about that at that time. But she was just trying to get me somewhere else. And we got food there, and I looked on the menu, and I just found the thing with the highest percentage. That. And it just happened to be the Booker's Kathleen Spatz from 2018, which I found myself in possession of because... one of the viewers and a friend who I met early on, like at Irene's grand opening where Rex and Daniel were, he went out of his way to find that bottle and donate it to the channel a few months ago. So now at last, when I've stopped drinking alcohol, I have this bottle and I have to make a video about it for 2019, so I can finally know what it tastes like, because I drank it that day, but there was no taste. There was nothing. I was just like, alcohol. This is it. Barely any memory of like feeling anything for a good long while after that.
Rex and I talk about this very frequently. The difference between drinking and tasting is massive. And if you want to drink, there's some extremely cheap stuff you can get drunk on. It'll get you drunk the exact same way. If you want to taste something, you should actually probably think about what you're doing. Yeah. And I say that as somebody who loves drinking. I love drinking to drink with friends. I love drinking socially, digitally, or physically.
Just check your liver. That's all I ask. Check your liver every once in a while. Like that's mine. Mine has a problem. I don't want anyone else to have to go through this.
Don't leak our next dry week episode.
I won't do anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I actually, yes, I think that it is a necessity. I also think that we live in a country where even doing like basic health marker checkups can be really unfortunate, because even if it's not that expensive, you will run into physicians who tell you, you don't need that, we're not going to do it. Like, well, I'm requesting a test. Like, I'm just asking you for something that I think is very basic.
I'm in the process of requesting another liver scan just so we can check up in 6 months rather than like next year. I said, like, when are we going to check me again? And they're like, oh, a year, like next year. I was like, but I would like to know how's it going before a year. You know, I'd like to know sooner rather than later, if that's all right. It's my liver, damn it.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's very well, and even then, it comes down to like patient advocacy. It's so hard to get somebody who is an expert to listen to you sometimes. It's just so dumb. like
I have two people. I have the gastroenterologist, and I have my NP who I see from a physical every year. So I'm going to basically figure out how to see the fibro scan again before I see my nurse practitioner again, and then wait the next half a year to see it again, because I need to know. And they're going to take blood work and everything anyway when I do the yearly physical. So might as well just get all chunked off at once.
Yeah.
If that's all right with you guys, you know. Like we said, trying to deal with people who are don't think you need to. And I know.
Yeah. Experts are extremely frustrating, man. It is hard. And I've dealt with this myself in terms of it's really hard to know everything about something and then break it down to the basics for somebody who doesn't know anything about the thing. It's hard to get back to the ground floor or get back to basics. And when you're working in a profession where you are so busy, you don't have time for the stuff you need to do, and people are asking you to do anything extra. I get it. I absolutely get it. But at the end of the day,
Medical
if somebody's
field be
asking you,
crazy.
like, just take a sample and run a test. Just take a sample and run a test.
Take my blood, please. Just
please. My blood, I'm bleeding here for you. Take it.
That's how they found out about my liver. I was getting weird levels in my blood work, and then they found out I had a fatty liver to begin with, and then I just didn't stop drinking. I probably should have, but or at least cut back. But I was too focused on making the content, doing the thing, getting the video for ages, and then it was just like, you need to stop now. You're at that point where it can get a lot worse, or it can get better. So we're going with it can get better. It's simple. It was not a hard decision to make.
No, and I actually think your YouTube description on your channel is like extremely well put.
Just stop drinking alcohol.
Stop drinking alcohol.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that is so eloquent in the simplicity of it.
Yeah. I was just like, this is the bluntest thing I can put on here.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
And answering the questions very easily without a ton of follow-up or dealing with any of the thing.
Yeah. And again, you fall into being the advocate of not only wanting people to continue to enjoy what they're doing with their whiskey, but also their health becomes paramount because of what's happened to me. I have to be like, look, if you enjoy whiskey, you like drinking it, you like tasting it, check. Because you can either, go in the route of recovery if something's wrong, or you could not know at all, and the thing you love could be your death. You don't want that.
Dude, there's a guy. I watch content very different from other people since I've been making content professionally for long enough. Like, I watch everything at 2x speed. I look at summaries of things. I look at the comments before I even touch the thing. But there's a guy making YouTube shorts, and it's supposed to be making dinner, but every day he's making dinner, his wife plays this bit, and it's a bit between them. It's not an actual issue with the marriage, because I know that, but it's a bit of her holding the phone like, Ryan, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? And then him like pouring himself this massive drink and chugging a huge proportion of it. I'm like, dude, this is
please let that be a stunt. Please don't make that alcohol.
I wish. I truly wish. But I'm looking at this guy. I'm looking at the level of gut to the level of obesity he's experiencing. I'm looking at the redness on his face, the slurring of the speech, the pupils. Again, I was a bartender for a long time. Like,
how you doing, pal? You need another? I don't think you do.
I know people are drunk, and this guy's starting off as not sober, and then he's doing something that is deeply irresponsible, and I have a real issue with people putting things out there like that. The same way way back in the day, Shoe Nice used to crush a full bottle of a full 750 of alcohol and then just become incapacitated for content before we had advertiser guidelines and brand safety. I look at stuff like that and I'm like, dude, this is everything that's wrong with drinking. Like, we are trying to not have that be the case. It's not about getting drunk. It's about enjoying experiences with other people. And sometimes you end up getting drunk. That happens, but that should be the exception, not the starting place.
Yeah, I mean, we've ended up with a discussion on my channel about like the next generation see stuff like that. See like people getting annihilated on purpose and the repercussions. And unlike like me and you, maybe in some degree, where that was like the thing to do, like you'd see the movies, the college things, that was the thing to do. You got the cool guy, you get drank, you got the, all these false scenarios of how alcohol is for fun and entertainment without the like real repercussions being shown. And even if like we were always told not to do it, don't do drugs, the dare, all that didn't work. Like just let us experience it, or at least tell us about it naturally in some way. I don't know what you can do for that. You couldn't have done for that time to make it be like, this is dangerous. don't do this.
Well, I mean, it goes through like real traditional media as well. Like, I grew up on How I Met Your Mother, and that was a show where every opening started in a bar, and 80% of it took place in a bar around beers. Like, you start to observe the media and what, like, for lack of a better term, subliminal messaging is in there. And problem drinking is a major component of media. It simply is. So when you can do something that kind of bucks that, it's wonderful. And even honestly, even on the channel, man, like, it is ridiculous to me the number of comments I read where it's like, oh, you can tell they're buzzed before they even started the video. Or like, Brianna's always, you can always tell Brianna's straight. I'm like,
you haven't met Brianna, have you? You haven't just met her.
That's just, and which I've heard people say this. It's like, I actually feel kind of bad that that's the initial reaction, where it's like, you can't just like hang out with people you like and get to a goofy and silly place without getting super inebriated. Like, you can't just come here to have a good time. It is what it is. Shoe Nice made his thing chugging bottles on YouTube until they finally shut him down. I watched Shoe Nice for so long in the most depressing way possible. His Tosh.0 web redemption was ridiculous. The whole thing is so crazy, but it really was one of the saddest videos I've ever seen on the internet for just a short period of time. I think he only did this a few times. He uploaded the aftermath because everyone just wanted to see the bottle chug, because he would chug a full 750 of alcohol. Hey there, guys, this is Shoe Nice, and everyone tells me the bottle's fake, so let me show you opening the bottle and go through the whole thing. It's 100% real. This is 2010 YouTube, 2012 YouTube. It's 100% real. He's just chugging a 750. But there was a 30-minute video he uploaded of the moment the real video stopped. The moment he crushed the Jack Daniels, it stopped. And then it was 30 minutes of him lying on the bed of a hotel room, eventually like having this fit that almost seemed like a seizure and throwing up on his bed. And I'm like, this isn't fun. What is this? We can't do this. What is this? And then he started eating glue for content. I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here. You're just a deeply mentally ill person. The only thing stopping you from being homeless is the camera. Like,
yeah. I've been there. Not been there, but I mean, I understand.
You can understand the feeling without.
Yeah, like
being there.
Like there is that little thing in the back of your mind that says like make content, get people interested to be here, and I don't revolt it, but I know like clickbait stuff I could do, especially with whiskey, like bring anything new, what the latest bottle is, or get some really expensive bottle, that kind of thing. And I'm just like, I'd rather not. I'd rather just talk about the stuff I like and what I found and what's been interesting. We have these two things over here, which are, they found their path to me, not with me finding them. Does that make sense?
Okay, tell me more.
Yeah, it's not what you think, I promise.
I'm interested though.
It is whiskey alternatives.
Yeah.
So this is one, the Kentucky 74 Spiritless, and this is the other one, Ritual Whiskey Alternative. These are weird.
It's interesting. I think,
but it's a thing now. You know, that's the big like point I'm falling into. Is like this is something that people are trying now.
Well, I also think that it's very hard because a lot of channels.
I'm gonna chug this whole thing, and
I've seen like SLB drinks doing non-alcoholic whiskeys and stuff. I've seen a lot of people attempt this, and I think one of the biggest issues is that the people trying this on whiskey channels are trying to drink the spirit neat like it's whiskey.
No.
Whereas the people creating it are creating it as a whiskey alternative for a cocktail.
Yeah.
And that is a very, very different place. When you taste it neat in a Glen, it's like, oh, this is nothing even close. But if you make a whiskey-themed cocktail based off the thing, it's like, oh, I can, this isn't bad. I'm fine with this. It's very different.
Yeah, I bought the, I didn't buy, well, no, this one was donated, like they gave them money to do it, and this one was sent to me.
Yeah.
And I am keenly aware that these are meant for cocktails. Like I even made like what I did was I went with a standard bourbon style cocktail, was an old fashioned. Like, see what that is like with this. I used the regular bitters because I'm not going to get that uptight about alcohol.
I'm a regular bitters guy. I've worked in fancy bars. I don't love super fancy bitters. I think
I just didn't want to find non-alcoholic bitters. I was like, no, I have a line.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bother with that, please.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, I just made an old fashioned to see how it kind of laid up to like that basic, because the alcohol is supposed to be the main thing now, but I think you and I both know that the reason old fashioned was initially made was because they were trying to cover over the kind of janky weirdness of the whiskey that was at that time.
All of the problems with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought like this is the scenario for that. This is like not ideal, but I want to see what I can fiddle with it and see if I can make it okay. I cannot. But I have found it works like in soda. Like I think it was the Ritual one was okay with like Diet Dr. Pepper or something like that. It was interesting.
Yeah, I was talking with our bartender Ronnie, the guy in the "What Your Whiskey Says About You" video. Who's wonderful. He's a phenomenal character and also a good bartender, and that's all I can ever ask of anybody. But he was saying, he's like, guys, the next time you want to do a sober cocktails video, he's like, I got the lineup, I know what we're gonna do for it and everything. I'm like, yeah, please make my job easy.
Please, yeah. One of the points I wanted to make was that there's a younger generation now, it feels that way, and I feel really old saying that, is they are not interested in alcohol as much as the previous have. They're more leaning into like these other alternatives almost, where they're just available, like they're making them. Why?
Yeah.
Why are they making these for such like a massive scape? Like the ones I've run across are, and this isn't whiskey obviously, but Heineken Zero, Guinness Zero, Blue Moon, non-alcoholic, and let's keep in mind that non-alcoholic doesn't mean there's no alcohol in it.
I was going to say it. I'm like, you clearly know the fact that alcohol is part of the brewing process, and then it's actually de-alcoholization that they go through to do the thing, and it's actually 0.01, not 0. You know that. We don't have to mess around with the basic facts and details. The one thing I will say though is that I keep hearing this. I keep hearing that there is a generation of people who don't drink like the generation before them. I think what people are missing, though, is that what we're really seeing is market fracturing and market differentiation in a way we've never seen before. And by that, I mean that people are attempting to be individuals as a part of trends or communities. And that means that they are bucking the trends that they see themselves. So when we have people getting away from drinking, we have a lot of people getting away from drinking and getting into other things. We also have a lot of people who, instead of drinking to get drunk, are thinking, what's the alcohol I want to find myself into? And that's why even today, we are seeing the death of the bourbon boom. We are seeing a collapse of the bourbon market that we know and love from the last 8 years. But we also are still seeing ultra premium whiskeys sell very well and limited editions sell very well.
Secondary market still exists.
Secondary market's very aggressive. We're still seeing all of these things exist. It's just that people view them differently than they used to. And so like Brown-Forman is seeing sales dip, but they're seeing sales dip on Jack Daniels and Old Forester. They're seeing sales still rise on ultra premiums or just premiums. We're seeing Woodford Reserve does very well because nobody says a bad word about Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
You see this like weird allocation change of the audience, but I don't think we're going to go through Gen Z and Zoomers. Oh, they just don't drink. I think we'll see people who drink, they drink differently than what people used to do. And like you say, like growing up with like spring break being a thing and fraternities and that culture is totally different than it used to be. Even my going through college was totally different than it used to be. And the way people behave and act was so different than all of the stereotypes that were available.
Yeah, it's just change. Like, it's just the change in what is looked at as the norm for alcohol specifically. Like, I don't expect that the younger people will look at the behavior that is prominent now, where they will see people get annihilated and get trashed and see all those effects and look at that and be like, why?
Yeah.
That seems like a bad idea. What's this other stuff over here? Okay, there's beer. Beer's fine. You know, they'll be. I feel like they're a little more reasonable because they have a different. It's all shown.
When you strip away all of the BS around it, you have people who get really, really drunk, and if they're young, like genuinely conscious individuals, they realize, I just felt terrible the next day.
I was like, I feel.
And
bad.
I was afraid to look at my phone because I don't remember what I texted people. And
that's a new thing. You used to be get drunk, pass out, wake up the next day and be like, what did I do last night? Not, let me check my texts for what I did. Who did I send to what?
That's why Snapchat was so beautiful. When you're young and you're sending something that gets deleted, but then you still get their response. You open your Snapchat and you have 12 responses from people and you don't remember what you sent them. It's like, oh no.
What have I done?
I do. And don't get me wrong, I love the phase of college that I have. I love the phase of college where I was hosting parties, most of them very small, some of them super massive, busted by the police. The most legendary party I ever hosted had 400 people, probably close to 1,000 came through it in one night. It was a Halloween party. It was a house party that had a DJ and 2 bars.
Only 2? God.
It was a small house.
Oh, all right. That makes sense now.
It was a house party that had 2 bars and a DJ. There's like there are these situations that I've participated in, hosted, etc.
You've been trying to recreate those movies. Like,
we did. Yeah. No, we did. Like, there was no trying. Like, we did it. We 100% did it. There was a crew of people that were so dedicated to it that we had everything down to the point that we had a megaphone for when we were like, the police are on the way.
Get out now.
You need to leave now.
This is not a drill.
Yeah. Yeah, like, we did that stuff, and I loved that. It was phenomenal. I don't want to go back to that. I don't need to go back to that. I have different interests now. And I don't need to be around 400 strangers to have a good night. I'd rather have 6 people. I'd rather have a party of 6 and have great conversation with those 6 people and have a good night and then remember it in the morning.
Yeah. Have an actual good time rather than just this, like, perceived everyone's here and chaos is reign and everyone's drinking and this is fun situation.
And that's what the social media generation leads you to. And as people will find, as I participate more in all of this, in this community and the stuff that I make, is that my history is actually like very hard to track because I've done things under different names. I've done things for different people. I've done all of this. I have a great portfolio, but it's all spread out in a way that nobody knows that I was the person doing that stuff or in that community doing that stuff. And it's not even being sneaky or mischievous. It's just I don't necessarily want somebody to follow me from the stuff that I made when I was 13 years old.
No one needs to know about this ever.
It's better that way.
Yep.
If you were buying designer sneakers, if you were buying $1,000 Air Jordans in Cleveland, Ohio in the year 2018, we probably spoke.
Ugh. It's like,
I don't need that to follow
but you're
me
not here, are you? Are you? You're not here. Well, that'd be terrifying. Zinbu's talking about I think Wild Turkey Generations. $600.
Generations is part of the like Masters Keep collection, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't even think about those.
Yep, that's why it's going to be $600. Which is like, okay. I have a lot of thoughts on Campari as a brand. I have a lot of thoughts on what Campari has been up to with Wild Turkey. That being said, I think it is an absolute statement of the Russell family and the fact that they still have respect for them, they can put out Wild Turkey 8-year family blend special edition for $50 a bottle, the same time they put out Wild Turkey Generations for $600 a bottle. They are trying to have something for people who can actually afford it.
Or you can have this one. We got both. Just pick one.
And here's the annoying thing. Here's the annoying thing. I got a lot of my allocated bottles and I got a lot of my reputation in a very local community off of not secondary market reselling, but just connecting people with bottles, texting somebody, this is exactly what this costs. Would you like this for exactly what it costs? You can come get it this week. I made a lot of relationships off of spending a lot of money at liquor stores that wasn't mine. I'm not charging secondary pricing because, honest to God, when you're actually buying this stuff, I don't need to make $20 off you to get you a bottle.
Yeah.
I get reputation with the store for buying the bottle. And then when I ask for an Eagle Rare, I get the Eagle Rare. I can just buy the Wild Turkey Generations, text somebody and say, hey, do you want this? This is what it costs. And they buy it through me and I get my exact amount of money back and I give it to them. All hypothetically, of course, because technically that would be illegal.
Well, no.
But I connect with those people, and I know a lot of them that spend that much on a single bottle, but man, I've spent some dumb money on liquor. $600 for a bottle of Wild Turkey. I'm not doing it anytime soon.
I've never done anything like that. I think the worst I did was maybe $150 at one point. And I've done some stupid stuff because of local bottles, like Irene Tan being nearby.
Yeah, that'll catch you.
But they're also very generous people who watch this channel and who contribute, who are just like, give that to him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, man, right? Is at a certain point when you're creating content around this thing, people want to give you something to make the content around it. But that is also not free. There's a responsibility that comes with getting that.
I feel real bad that I'm not doing videos right now because I have plenty of bottles that were donated that I haven't opened yet.
And we've talked about this publicly and privately, Rex and I, of we flat out will not accept bottles being donated and gifted to us if there is not a way that we can figure out to give those bottles back to the community. If you come visit us, we want you to be able to walk through a shenanivan, we want you to be able to walk through an area,
the stash,
that is not legally bonded property, that you can actually try the stuff that's been donated by the community. If you send us a bottle, we want you to be able to taste bottles that other people have sent us. Like, it really is that simple. The legal vehicle to make that happen, or at least playing in the gray area, is very complicated, but it's a very conscious thing, because even now when we're sourcing bottles for upcoming episodes, I could send a tweet, I could send DMs, I could make this happen very easily, but it's not free.
I could share. It's
a gift from the community.
Yeah.
Hey, if you have bottles donated to you to drink that you don't want to deal with, I will find a way to deal with those bottles.
Oh no, I was talking about like samples, like blind samples are a big thing. In the whiskey tube world, and I can make one of those. It's like the thing I do because I'm a whiskey somm. It's just become the thing. It's like, I can't drink these. I'd rather share them. Here's like a whiskey somm curated sample pack of 7 blind samples. Enjoy. That's all I can give back right now. So again, you, Rex, Brianna, anytime, just tell me. It doesn't have to be content. Just something fun for you guys to do.
Okay,
you'll want it to be.
Don't offer me. I need everything now. And here's the other thing too: is that if we're talking strictly about whiskey content and the way that whiskey content's done on YouTube, I think that I often come off as extremely jaded because I was into content before I was into whiskey. I always want to be making the next thing or the evolution of the thing. So I think that I could sound like very, very pessimistic towards the state of whiskey content when the reality of it is, it's like, I don't have an issue with anything anyone else is doing. I just want to be doing something different. So even when we talk about like whiskey reviews, it's not that I don't want to be doing whiskey reviews, it's that I don't want our main content to be whiskey reviews. And if we're doing whiskey reviews, I want it to just be a thing on the Patreon that happens every week, and we're happy with it as just going out to that audience, being for those people and doing that thing in a format people love. But I don't want it to be the main show. I don't want it to be the main thing. I want to make the next thing, because the moment people crack a formula, I just get bored with it. My mind starts to wonder on like, okay, but how do we make it bigger?
No, I don't know how to do any of that. Mostly I just try to do what I enjoy doing and hope people follow along. And so far, so good, generally.
Which, I mean, dude, but isn't that I would rather have that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I genuinely mean that. I wish I could make the videos exactly the way I want to make them and not think about anything else. I just
the blessing and a curse, the knowledge. I
just grew up deconstructing television and media.
All right, don't tell me anything about the videos I've ever made. Don't watch them. Actually, never check them out at all.
And so, from my perspective, I grew up in the first era of not just YouTube, but also the first era of reality TV with writers' strikes and Survivor, and then to Hell's Kitchen and competition shows.
Sharon!
I grew up with all of that happening around me and trying to find the balance, because YouTube is just the modern version of reality TV for a lot of channels.
Yeah.
A lot of channels aren't posting polished content, you know?
No, I'm trying to be as real as possible, like with everything I do, and try to make people understand. Like I'm trying to make a living out of this, and the reason why is because of mental health problems. Like I just can't. I don't function enough to go try to do what everyone's doing, and also what everyone is doing isn't working, and the world's falling apart. And there's that.
I also sit here as a doomsday apocalypse theorist. I sit around and I think about things. I'm like, how
am I going to board up these big windows?
Are there?
Yeah.
How many gas stations are there? And how many people dream of being gas station employees?
There's got to be someone.
There's got to be someone. But we have hundreds of thousands of gas stations.
Yeah.
And we have dozens of people who want to work in gas stations. Everyone working in a gas station wishes they were doing something else.
Just watch Clerks. That's
to me,
the gist of
that's
it.
a bubble.
Yeah.
To me, that's we might run into some issues here, because I don't know anyone who says, yeah, a gas station would be awesome. That's a great job. But we need tons of people to work in gas stations.
Yep.
So when you talk about mental health driving you to not want a normal job or a stereotypical style play, it's like, oh, I get it.
I've tried. Like I tried before I was diagnosed. I was wondering why I couldn't do it. It was very frustrating. I was very hard on myself because I was not able to do what other people are doing just fine. Yeah. And then again, I got laid off from a factory job I had for 4 years as a typesetter, and I worked in graphics briefly, where I was just basically taking an image and putting it on white ribbon to have it stick, and then those would be used for like horse shows and all that kind of nonsense. But anyway, I got fired from that, or laid off, and that was just after my diagnosis, so I was very suspicious about that. But then went on unemployment, then eventually realized there's this mental health thing we just found out about was much worse than I thought, and managed to thankfully get on SSDI, which is what I've just been kind of coasting on for a while now.
Yeah.
And finding this and being able to do this and have a little extra income too.
On top of that, yeah.
Yeah, and just get something running here. Like this microphone was given to me, this headset I bought myself, just credit card. This whole thing behind me, all the shelving was given to the channel. This nonsense that I have, which I love, donated to the channel. It's I've been ridiculously lucky in regards as where this is what I can do because of people out there who have been ridiculously generous and keep me going.
And that's the thing, man, is you don't need to be doing the greatest thing on the planet or hiring people out or investing a ton of money if you're doing something that connects with the right people.
Yeah.
And even stuff that people dislike or pan. I had a really fascinating, I've only ever bartended for one famous person who wasn't a politician, and it was one of the guys from the American version of Top Gear, a guy by the name of Rutledge Woods, who was on the American version of Top Gear. And he is the nicest guy on the planet. He had incredible advice. And I just had to be real with him because I don't know what else to do. I have to, if I have good questions for somebody, I have to ask them that. And I'm like, dude, you're on a version of something that everybody loved. Everybody loved this thing, but everybody hated the version you were on. And you got panned based off of being the American version of Top Gear. What was that like?
How you coping
And
with
he's
that,
like,
man?
and he's like, you know what, man? We went 5 or 6 seasons. People didn't like it. They still showed up. We went 5 or 6 seasons. I had a job. I got to spend time with incredible people. We went to South America for the Olympics one year, and
Oh.
everybody knew who we were. Everyone was stopping me in the streets. Rod, Rod, Rod. I don't know. I don't think it matters if people speak nicely about you in forums. The thing you're doing still is connecting with people. Just do it.
Mm.
That's pretty cool. Even
Yeah.
if you're on the worst version of something that people love, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to make sure I phrase this right. It's simple. It's like do the thing. Like just do the thing.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's where I'm at. Is like I'm just doing this because I can do it, and people seem to enjoy it. And
Yeah.
that's it. Like I like doing it. If I didn't like doing it, I wouldn't. I'd try to figure something else out. But so far, this has been the best thing.
The worst thing is getting locked into something that
Get
you
points
don't
for showing
love.
up. Right, Zen?
You get points for showing. You get a lot of points for showing up. Frankly, I think that is most of the battle. Sometimes is just showing up. And even then, I work a job that involves me being on camera. I honest to God, I genuinely prefer doing the background work and doing everything around the job. I like pre-production. I like having ideas. I like booking guests. I like all of that stuff so much that then there's sometimes where it's like, yeah, I mean, I also have to be the guy that goes on camera and does the thing, and I'm capable of doing it.
You're doing it
But
right now.
it's a lot easier not to. Yeah, it's a lot easier to have this conversation when I know nobody's watching. And
Exactly.
It's not gonna be recorded. It's a lot easier to do the thing when you don't have to do the whole thing. But just like Rex and Brianna, I think you would find very quickly that the weird facial expressions, the talking with my hands, all of the things that make me the way I am
Oh yeah, someone's got to say something.
100% prevalent through me as a person. Like thinking too quick and saying the wrong thing is just who I am and the way I am.
Yep.
All of that is still totally real and authentic. It's not a character.
No, but people will play it off. Like again, with Brianna specifically, she's such a gem of a human being that people like think she's pretending in any way, shape, or form. When I've at least encountered her and talked with her enough to be like, that's just the way she is.
Oh,
that's her.
Dude, the weird things that people think are like, oh, you're just doing that because there's a camera. It's like, no. In fact, I would argue many of these things are toned down for the fact that there is a camera.
That would not surprise
and
me.
you are thinking about the public and society. Is the most fun thing about a content job is that you do just get to be yourself. Like I get to be very mean in my sense of humor with Rex.
I bet.
I get to make fun of him.
Yeah, he likes
ways.
that. He likes that for some reason.
He respects it.
Mm.
I can cut kind of deep sometimes where I make a joke and then I think about it later and I'm like,
Rex, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
he didn't say a thing about that.
Yeah.
He did not. He's allowing me. I'm like, I met you 4 weeks ago. And you're letting me really make fun of you. It's like, that's the fun part of it, is that you do get to be yourself. You do get to participate in something as yourself, and you're not expected to show up as a character, because frankly, I mean, very genuinely, like in hiring anybody for any content job, it kind of gets weeded out.
Yeah.
In my interviews, I spoke for, I believe, roughly 6.5 hours. And that was in 6 days. That was in 6 days. It was like
Getting winded
it was like 3 2-hour sessions and 1 30-minute meet and greet style session. It's like, if there's any part of you, like you can't talk to somebody for that long without figuring out a little bit of who they are. You can't put on a show for that long. It's really hard.
I mean, I did grow up like with theater in my blood, so I could.
Sure.
I wouldn't like it. It's one of those, like, the whole.
Sure, but would they think, oh, that's totally who they are? They're not performing. Because when I see someone performing, I could usually figure out they're performing.
Yeah. Like, I'm trying to, like, with the mental health stuff, like, I'm sorry to keep bringing it back, but that's my life. It's constant. But, like, going out that door and being around people, I'm not behaving the way I am now. Even this is, like, genuine. I'm just being myself. But if I go out there, I'm not. Like, I look pretty... People don't seem like they want to come talk to me. Like, I'm giving that idea of, please get out of my way. Please don't be around me. I'm not being mean. I just don't. I need to get from here to here, and that's what I want to do, with avoiding any kind of social interaction if possible.
I always feel like I start there mentally of trying to avoid it.
I've gotten better about it.
Living here alone, I always end up in these weird conversations. I had a conversation the other night. Funniest, like, this is the setup for a bad joke, but I sat down at a bar to order food. And the guy next to me, so I functionally work at a distillery. The guy next to me works at a pharmacy. The guy next to him works at a pot growing place. Like,
cannabis.
we combine. Like, we all found each other.
We're all involved with drugs, it seems.
We're all here for the sins or medicine, depending on how you view the pharmacy job. But I was like, having that conversation with those guys and talking about just regulatory issues in our different industries, and talking about how, like, our entire brand has been built off of social media, but nobody in marijuana or cannabis can start a social media brand because you get removed from Instagram and YouTube the moment you tick over like 10,000 followers. They identify you and remove you. It's so you are working against the odds, and as a pharmacy, your audience is so built into the thing that you're doing. Are you even pitching? Like, oh yeah, come get your drugs from me. It's like, no, dude, I just go to the place that's close to me. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, CVS,
I don't care about your store.
CVS has been getting real weird lately. Trying to get my attention through emails constantly. I'm like, please leave me alone. I don't want to give you a review. I don't want to comment on how my experience was. Just, I go get my drugs there and I come back. Sometimes I get paper towels. I mean...
And if you're advertising for a pharmacy, tell me how short your lines are. Tell me how short the wait is to get my prescription. That's the only thing I care about.
They have a drive-through.
I don't care how friendly the people are.
There's a drive-through. I don't have to go in there at all. I just drive up.
At the end of several hours of the process, she talked with the CEO for an hour. He afterwards described himself as the final jerk filter. She passed the filter. This has been my experience with so many people. Zen, this has been my experience with so many jobs, is you just have to, and here's the thing, I'm not the best editor on the planet. I'm pretty good. I'm not the best videographer on the planet. I'm a pretty good videographer. I'm good at functioning with cameras in different systems. I understand all the technical stuff really well. The reason I get hired for stuff, freelance or professional, is because I'm cool to hang out with. Like, it's narcissistic to say, but at the end of the day, people want to hire the people that are good hangs. People want to hire the funnier one. And if you also show up on time and you're not a drunk working for an alcohol company, it does, like, help you out considerably.
Yeah.
But it's also funny looking back on the live stream for my job and the way that, like, Rex would talk about the position, because he was really pitching against it in a lot of ways. Like, you're not gonna just hang out and unbarrel things. You're not just gonna be able to hang out at the bar. You're not gonna be able to do this or that. all of those are parts of the job.
Yeah, I was gonna say
It's just not the job.
Yeah.
It's not what the job is. The job is the work part, and I do a lot of work part of the job.
Mm-hmm.
But every now and then, you just get to do like, and by every now and then, I mean like once a week, I get a crazy good experience. I get to drink a Redbreast 27 for no reason other than the fact that I pulled it out as a joke and then we used it.
Yep.
I get these little benefits where I'm like, this is worth it.
Yeah, it's like, I like doing this. This is good.
This is good.
I
and I like the content. That's the main thing for me. If we were making something that I thought was truly mediocre, even in, I'm a background player really in a lot of these videos. Like even the first video I worked on was the Far North post Bastards Ball, the Far North.
That was a lot of footage, I imagine.
Well, not if you skip around the Bastards Ball stuff and you turn that into its own update thing. But
yeah.
For Bastards Ball, they had a bunch of people in to do like master distillers reveal their favorite thing, not their own.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Far North one was the first one where it was like, hey, do you think we could just turn this into a video of itself instead of cutting together these several people and just highlight and focus on the thing that makes them different?
You have all this footage. Why not just use most of it instead of just trying to chop it up?
And why not build the story around the person who it is? Like, build it around Michael Swanson as the founder and master distiller of Far North. And at the end of that, I mean, I spend an hour and a half. I read every single interview the guy's ever done. I read every piece of press and material. I learn everything about their SKU.
Have you seen Instagram recently about Coming Whiskey?
From Far North around Coming Whiskey, or
the label guy coming?
I know Coming Whiskey.
Yeah. There was a Far North one with Crowded Barrel that got popped on there just hours ago.
Not an alliance release.
I was like, wait a damn minute here.
No.
What are the odds?
Okay, let me see what was posted. You know what's really funny about this is that this is how I'm finding out we got label approval.
Hey, guess what? Yeah, I think I put it on. It might have been a story, but I definitely saw it. Yeah.
No, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah.
Okay,
Far North X Crowded Barrel Varietal Straight Rye. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah. Yes, I have drank this.
I'm jealous.
I love Far North. I love what Michael's doing. I had no idea what was happening until I got here. But again, the thing that I love is putting together the story around him and writing those bits out. And full disclosure, like, I'll write out pieces from my research and Rex will read them and then throw them away and present it naturally, like it's not being written in red. So the level of research is still going in there of trying to get things right. But then there's also the natural delivery portion of trying to deliver stuff off the cuff. But there are aspects to Far North, like his entire business started as a college project that he literally turned into a professor. Like, yeah, I got a family farm. If I was to do anything with it, I would turn it into a distillery. And he got an A, and the professor returned it with a note saying, "Do it. You should do this.
Yeah.
Do this. Yeah, just do it. Just do it. This is a good idea. Do it.
Do it. That's great.
And that's it."
All right, I will have to cut us short soon because I realize we're going for 2 hours.
Oh, you're good, man.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But
no, you're fine. Yeah. Any last questions or anything? Any wrap up? Go ahead.
Well, wrap up like I know what I'm doing. The one thing I wanted to point out we were talking about briefly was the idea of like being the person you are and how that's become it's something I do. It's something you do. I think it's definitely something that's happening at Crowded Barrel and the Whiskey Tribe. I like to feel I'm like that little bridge between like Whiskey Tribe and Whiskey Vault, since they have actually just split. But I'm a Whiskey Somm, and I'm in the Whiskey Tribe, and it just makes sense that I kind of teeter back and forth between both. I managed to get the video on Whiskey Vault recently when he was doing Dry Week.
Yeah.
That was great. He
crowdsourced whiskey.
He sent me that
right?
He's like, hey, would you like to do this? I'm like, this is what I was talking about at the beginning. than just being interested in the channel and then years later finding myself making content on said channel.
Yeah.
What reality is this?
Yeah.
But as far as the being yourself thing, I'm in the works of finishing a video that I've recorded, kind of talking about what I get tired of seeing is the performance that people do that doesn't feel very real to me. Like everyone's like TikTok, Instagram, there's all this kind of purposeful behavior that isn't who the person is. It's like, it's that thing to be funny, or it's that thing to be interesting in the moment, or you're trying to sell something, where what I'm going to do is present this, I don't want to call it a film, but it's a short little thing I'm going to patch together about what people see me as on here, being my general self, and what I can show people that appears to be myself, which is obviously just something that I've made, like movies and stuff. That's not how the people really are. That's all a setting. That's all fiction. That's all done purposefully to present something. And basically all I'm doing is gonna show the presentation of what people might think my life is, and then me talking over it of everything here is a lie.
Yeah.
Everything you're seeing is like, there's a point to it. I did this on purpose. I put the camera here. I did the angle here. I did this behavior here. Just as an interesting little aside, because I'm not making it real content.
And even there, like the thing I just talked about, like delivering to camera, trying to do it authentically after writing out notes in a script, even if you're going to throw 80 to 90% of it away, you're still engineering what that is. And I do think that in part, coming from Modern Rogue, or for me, Scam School, was a big part of that in thinking about the delivery. But there's a much bigger point here we do not have time to jump into.
Yeah.
There's a much
can always
bigger
come
point
back.
here. I have this conversation with my friends constantly, because a vast majority of my friends have never made anything. And I'm not saying that in a negative sense. I'm just saying they haven't done the thing you just described, where you set up a camera, you clean up your angles, you think about your lighting, you control this, you control that, you put the dog in the background. You do so many steps that strip you away from authenticity or who you want to authentically be. But then we have a news cycle where you have celebrities going on late night talk shows like Jimmy Fallon, or used to be Conan O'Brien, and people take these quotes as if they're like these real serious, this is how they feel, or this is why they did it. And it's like, guys, there was a producer they spoke to on the phone. There was somebody who helped engineer this story. There's all of this going into it.
They just happen to have a book coming out, and they're in a movie convincingly that's just, they're going to talk about where.
And look, there are people like Dax Shepard of the Armchair Expert podcast who made a name for himself by doing late night shows, not promoting anything. He was just a go-to. He was a go-to phone call for people who had nothing to do. They're like, hey, our guest dropped out. Can you come by? Those people exist, but it's the tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of truth or reality behind a full-on production. So yes, even when we talk about like, yeah, we're trying to be our authentic self, we're trying to do this, the moment that a camera pops up, the moment that I know I'm on mic or on camera, it's just different. It's just different.
You're being
man.
observed.
Yes, literally Schrodinger's camera.
Yeah,
You absolutely cannot be the exact same. But yeah, man, we can wrap out of this. I am very available for the next several months until my girlfriend or I convince anybody else to get here. My timings can be a little bit weird depending on how far.
That's fine. Like I don't remember if I mentioned it, but I do like standard 7 p.m. on Fridays and
Sundays.
What day is it? And then Sundays. But I am also my own boss. And I am available when people are available. I leave it open, as in like we could do this anytime. Like anytime you want to chat. Anytime you have the time.
The last thing I will leave you with is a gift I received from Brianna. I was told I could have this. It is a Glen coin featuring Rex fishing in a river.
In a barrel.
In a barrel.
That again.
And Daniel as the what is it?
The baby, Nirvana.
The Nirvana album cover baby.
Mildly disturbing and hilarious at the same time.
Oh, deeply disturbing, deeply disturbing and hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't want to say it, but yeah.
No. Oh, the moment I saw this, it was 3 minutes of full laughter. It was three actual, like really, at least a minute and 30 seconds of. What did you do before I got here?
Yeah, why have you done this? What kind of fever dream were you having where you thought this was a good idea?
A, I love it. B, how dare you?
Yeah. How dare you do this before I was here? I have coins somewhere, but I think I've moved them. But I do have a bunch. From the early days, like getting into like coins being a thing in general. It's just okay.
But yeah, I'm around. I'm a community manager, even though it's a social media company and everybody has to kind of participate in the community. Kyle's in the Discord more than anybody else.
He is. I've had like
and the Patreon. Kyle's everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of interaction with Kyle just because he's around, and lucky I've been able to hang out at the distillery when he's working, just to like hang out. It's been great.
Easier sometimes over Discord because when you speak to him in person, sometimes he's so quiet you actually don't get anything out of it.
It was hard to talk to him in the distillery because he's soft spoken and I have trouble hearing out of my right ear. So
I was talking to Pena about this because Kyle was walking away and still speaking, and Pena just looks at me. He's like, "I've learned so much from him, but I have no idea what's been lost."
Yeah, what have I not heard?
I can't hear him anymore.
Yeah. It's funny.
No, this has been a lovely time, man.
Yeah.
Let me know. Sundays would be much easier for me, but I like a good Friday stream.
Yeah. It's a good way to end the week.
Yeah, it's a good way. It's a good excuse for me to leave early too.
Exactly. That helps. Like, sorry, I got to go hang out with Brian again, guys. You have fun. Bye. Have fun editing, Rex.
I'll see you guys eventually.
Yeah. All right, cool.
No, thank you much, man. I will talk to you soon, and yeah, hit me up anytime. I'm usually available.
Booyah! I love to see. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of how things go with Crowded Bear and Distillery and the Whiskey Tribe channel.
No, very
from here
bullish.
on. It's going to be incredible.
Only good, no bad.
Excellent. I like that. All right.
Have a great night, man.
I will do my little, I guess, rollout, whatever it's called.
Yes, you take me out of this, and then I will hang up so it doesn't mess up your framing.
Oh, it'll be fine. I'll just like end the stream. It'll be good. And then you can bounce because I have like an endy thing.
Okay.
But my thing is, as always, live long and prosper. Don't forget to be awesome. And I will see you out there in stream. Special thanks to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bah.